So by the 70s, there was a beef price crisis. Nixon came into office and basically shut down the gold standard of the US dollar. Yes, this goes into the financial system. After the US dollar is no longer backed by gold, it loses its value instantly. Agricultural exports become extremely cheap to sell to other countries. Of course, since the grain industry has been trying to sell their shit everywhere, the global demand for corn skyrockets. So when the global demand went up, the cheap grain that was being sold all over the place in massive quantities depleted the U.S. supply significantly. They called this the Great Grain Robbery, specifically when they sold tons of it to the Soviet Union. Since our reserve in the U.S. was completely drained, or damn near, it drove our domestic prices of grain way up. Feed went up, so the cost of producing an animal on grain also went up. This drove us into a feedback loop of ranchers selling off their entire herds, or almost all of them, for extremely cheap prices because the cost of grain was so unaffordable, they couldn't keep them around. As a result, when the beef supply was lowered, prices go up. Supply, demand. The next thing Nixon did was to try and implement price controls to maybe balance out the market, but it didn't really help. Even though it froze things like wages and prices, it did not freeze things like feed and fuel. The things, unfortunately, that were controlled were the things that impacted the farmers and ranchers the most. Cattle producers were losing money because they were not actually able to charge more for their cattle, but they were paying more in order to feed them. Many ranchers sold off their entire herds, or they just stopped producing entirely. Shrank the beef supply even more, and the cost of beef and even consuming beef went up even more. The price controlling that Nixon implemented completely backfired. And when the price controls were lifted, they surged dramatically because the market was not able to rebalance itself. Then if he would have completely left alone, it wouldn't have been as bad of a situation.